Well, another Monday, ladies and gentlemen, means another episode of Unloading the Box Truck. I'm your co-host, Scoochie D, and here with Pickle and D-Money. Fellas, like we talked last week, started off, Dallas has a song for us that he's going to read the lyrics, and me and Pickle got to guess what song it is. Dallas, take it away.
We all came out to Montreux on the Lake Geneva shoreline to make records with a mobile, yeah. We didn't have much time now. Frank Zappa and the Mothers were at the best place around. But some stupid with a flare gun burned the place to the ground. Any guesses?
I'm so lost that it's not even comical.
Smoke on the water. A fire in the sky. Smoke on the water.
Is it smoke on the water?
It's smoke on the water.
That was great. Come on. Hold on, dude. What's
that was a hard intro, wasn't it?
And what's crazily ironic about that is if you would have started with dun 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 dun. I wish I had my stylophone. I could have played it for
That
us.
would have been sick.
XFL.
Here we go, folks. XFL. So I want to start this out by, and I don't know if you guys have ESPN Plus. I don't either. I borrow it from one of our other coaches. But Player 54 on ESPN Plus is the behind-the-scenes exclusive, behind-the-scenes XFL, basically. Mm-hmm. Runs them through, like, when the return of the XFL was, like, being brought in, and then, like, present day. So, like, literally the last episode is, like, last week's games. It's kind of crazy.
It continues to follow it throughout the season as well.
It's episode 5 right now. I'm not 100% sure on that. It might just be 5 episodes. Because I just found it and I binged it like in 3 hours.
The XFL was on around earlier. Was it the 90s that it was on or earlier 2000s?
No, it was earlier 2000s.
Okay.
But I'm saying like present day XFL, like the inception of present day XFL to where we are now. Like they started, I can't. Was it? Well, I think it was 2021 when they started back. Like,
isn't present day XFL what we are now though?
That's what I'm saying. It brings us to now. It brings us to, like, they started with the plan of everything, bringing XFL back in, like, 2021. And then...
is this the first XFL season?
Yeah. They just brought it back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's just been so many other, like, secondary leagues. I'm getting them all mixed. What was the one where, like, Johnny Manziel was a big star they had in it where the players could call a play? Do you remember what that one was called?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called. Fan Choice League.
That's so wild. That was weird.
Actually, my guy who we're going to have on eventually, who plays for the Vegas Vipers now, played in that.
Did he say he liked it? Well, we can ask him.
Yeah, I haven't really talked to him about it.
All right, scores.
Okay, scores. But just tune into that because it's awesome.
I do know my Sea Dragons lost a tough one, 34-33.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Defenders.
That's the last game. Vipers went up to St. Louis and lost in the Dome 21-17.
In overtime.
A.J. McCarron gets hurt. Shoulder problem. Tiano comes in and obviously leads them to victory. Went for 194.
They lost in overtime, but they only lost by 4?
Yep.
How are the overtime
Scored
rules?
4 points in overtime. How the frick does that work?
They also had a fake punt. St. Louis had the touchdown. I don't know. I didn't watch the game.
It's got to be overtime rules. It's got to be because there's no...
Well, GP Scooch told me one time about, like, I think it was the 1969 high school championship, football state championship. It went into overtime, and this was in Kansas. I want to say it was like a Shawnee Mission school where he went, and games being played. It's over. Regulation tied. After they played so many different quarters of overtime, no team had scored or whatever.
Just call it a draw?
No. What then they did, because it's a state championship, you can't do that. Each team had one drive, and they called it the penetration rule of 1969.
Whoever made it the furthest?
Whoever's drive made it for the furthest. I don't know if they won or not. Can't remember. I'm sure he'll hit me up on Twitter and tell me about it.
That's interesting.
Because he actually
Papa Scooch, GP Scooch, we'd love to hear.
A lot of... Continue. I'll talk about it. He gave me a whole thing about the DH. About that we were talking about. This whole thing is about the DH and why it was started. So if when we get to baseball, continue.
Okay. All pretty close games, really. Like within 4 points of each game. Renegades went out to Orlando and won by 2. I don't actually the Guardians, their quarterback kind of went off. Actually, he just threw 2 picks. He went for 303 and a tutty. So I imagine that's kind of where they fell short. Too many turnovers, obviously. And then Sunday, my Brahmas lose by 2 in the Alamodome to the Roughnecks. Jack Cohn threw 2 interceptions. Obviously, not a recipe for success. That big running back they have, the Brahmas, he's a freaking load. 16 carries for 96 yards and a touchdown. Let's see here. The Defenders and Scoochie's Sea Dragons.
Philip Lindsay got a touchdown. That's good.
Ben DiNucci threw for 3.
Wow. Ben DiNucci's good.
The Defenders win 34-33, barn burner.
I think Ben DiNucci is proving that he should get another shot at the NFL. We've already talked about that, but
I think the Chiefs need to get a shot on being in the backup of Patrick Mahomes.
Quite possibly.
Chad Henney's out.
I could see that.
We need one.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, that is the week in review of the XFL. Next week, second to last week before the playoffs start, Vipers versus Roughnecks, Guardians versus Brahmas. Hopefully that's a win in the Brahmas column. Renegades versus Defenders, Sea Dragons versus Battlehawks. You guys, Sea Dragons got a tough one this week. In the Dome. So,
shut down A.J. McCarron. Hope he gets hurt again and then stop.
I don't know that he'll play. He got taken out, shoulder problem.
Oh, that ain't good.
No. So, on to what I wanted to talk, and we'll talk more about this in this week's episode of Box Truck Talk, but, and this is just to remind me for Box Truck Talk this week, I want to take a look back at the 3 minor league guys that we've had on and see how their season started.
Okay.
Because I know we tweeted out Braxton Hyde got called up.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he got called up to Fresno. So he's.
Did you see the guy we just had, Whitey?
What?
The Trash Pandas lost 7-5 after throwing a no hitter.
A no hitter, yeah. That's incredible.
But they hit like 5 guys
and walked like
7 or something like that. Yeah.
Anyway, how they doing?
They're doing okay. Last I checked, I think they were 3-4. I think they just lost to the Rangers. I think that puts them middle of the pack. 3-5, I believe.
Okay.
I'll check real quick. Old Dill's Brewers are doing nice though. They're
Dill's Brewers are.
Cubs are 4-4. 4-4.
7-2, and just one big series against the Cardinals.
How about the Rays though? Oh baby.
9-0.
I need to look.
Wonder who they're playing today.
The thing with them is they just played a series against the Oakland A's, and that's what everyone's saying. Is they have today off.
Who's their first 3 series against?
That's what I'm going to go try to find.
I would bet.
I know a guy who plays for the Rays.
Do you?
Closer, reliever, closer, I think. Wonder if he's pitched this year.
Is it Chris Archer?
No.
I love Chris Archer.
Does he play for the Rays? I didn't think he'd been picked up yet.
I know he used to. That was the first team I can remember him playing for. That I was like, I like that guy.
They played the Tigers before they played the A's. And then they played the Nationals.
They haven't really played
They haven't played a solid team, breakdown team.
They're getting ready to play the Red Sox and then the Blue Jays.
So
we'll see how
my guy this year. My
guy.
guy's name's Calvin Fauché. Pitched 5 innings, 3.6 ERA, 3 strikeouts.
Very nice.
He was actually with us in Wichita. Got traded in the Nelson Cruz trade to the Rays, and then went to Double A for the Rays one day. Got called up the next day to Triple A, and was in the big leagues by the end of the year. And he barely pitched for us in Wichita. So tells you what the Rays know and nobody else knows. They're a really good organization. If you guys weren't aware,
phenomenal farm system.
You guys ready to hear about? Well, talk about your Twins, and then I'll jump into about the DH.
Twins 6-4. Dropped some to who do we play over the weekend? Dropped a couple games that we shouldn't have to the Marlins. Pre-weekend, I guess. Would have been early last week. Yeah, I don't know. They played well against the Astros, though. Took 2 out of 3. So, but we're off to a good start. We're way better than last year, and I think the expectations are more. I mean, we got a better lineup, and we got some arms, too. So,
very nice. You ready to
now let's hear Papa Scooch and the DH, and then we'll get on to the real news.
This is Grandpa Scooch.
Oh, Grandpa Scooch.
Papa Scooch is
yeah. Sorry, GP Scooch. And then we'll get on to what really happened this weekend.
It is his Twitter, by the way. Okay. So, before the 1969 expansion of the MLB, pitchers had dominated offenses. Bob Gibson had a 1.12 ERA, and Denny McLain won 31 games in 1968. So Yaz won the AL batting title with a 301 average. Little background there before they decided to do this. For the 69 season, owners dropped the mound height from 15 to 10 inches in height for the 1969 season. They also agreed to a designated pinch hitter for spring training of 69, but the AL and NL, which were run separately then, couldn't agree on how to do it. They tried it in AAA first, American Association and International League, the Pacific Coast League for 69 and 70 seasons. In the opening before the 71 season, the AL agreed to try it, but only by an 8-4 vote. NL voted it down. So when they were ran separately, AL said yes and NL said no. Supposedly to be a 3-year trial, Yankees' Ron Blomberg was the first, and AL kept extending it and kept extending it and extending it. Every time they would extend it, NL would still once again vote it down. And finally, when the leagues came together to form the MLB and the players wanted it, the NL owners agreed. Now only the Japanese Central League does not use it.
Wow. I.e. why Ohtani is really good.
Phenomenal.
Well, there was a while when the NL still, the pitchers hit.
2 years ago, they just changed it.
Yeah, to universal. So it was.
You know, what's interesting about that is how the minor leagues work. And I know I always revert back to the minor leagues, but they're not split up AL, NL in the minor leagues.
They all have a DH?
They all have a DH in the minor leagues, but, like, where are those pitchers hitting along the way, you know?
Yeah, you just get into the National League and or in the MLB, and they expect you to be able to hit as a pitcher.
So it's kind of, I don't know, you had to be pretty natural if you're going to be a pitcher in the NL and then get up there and hit after you hadn't hit in the minors.
And I mean,
and let me say this, at least in AA in the Texas League, everybody has a DH. I don't know about
anywhere else.
Yeah, maybe some of the Eastern leagues have it. I don't know.
All right,
but okay. Big deal that happened this weekend.
Just for you, really?
No, I'm sorry, dude. It's like a national holiday weekend. Easter.
Well, yeah. Yes.
I'm kidding.
Obviously.
Masters.
Yes.
Okay, so we like we said, we had our Masters draft. I tweeted out on Wednesday last week. I said, hey, check back for some interesting, fun content for tonight. So I'd planned on... I did record.
Hard pass.
I did record the draft. There were some questionable things said, so we chose not to put that up.
Smart.
But it was a lot of fun. It was probably more fun for me than the others just because I won. People say it's rigged. Scoochie watched me do it, so call it what it is, I guess. But... just to kind of run down the scores here, I won. Bono got second with 290 points. Landell's team got 295, so third place. Then the Scoocher comes in fourth place with 360 points. Dylan was bringing in the fifth spot with 366. Tyrese, 388. Our running backs coach Cox with 452, and then Berger with 455, and then the head man with a whopping 541. So... It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to follow all that. I don't know. I know Scoochie's one of those guys. He just looks at the score at the end and is like, "Oh, awesome," or
yeah. I don't follow.
I followed pretty closely though.
When I put in a bet, I'm not like.
It was a custodian lady. She's cleaning.
Hard worker.
Yeah, great worker. But it was a lot of fun. John Rahm came out of nowhere.
Killer.
Dude, there for a while on Sunday. And did you watch Dill?
Yeah.
There was it was first, second. So Rahm, Koepka, and second. And then it was all the way down. Third place was third through 12th. We're all stacked up at 7 under. It was wild. I was sweating bullets,
This was probably the first year I actually watched the Masters.
start to finish.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying when you were thinking of the Masters, national holiday. I was before this, I watched, I knew golf, but I didn't really get into it.
But what I'm saying is it's sacred.
It's a big deal
It is a big deal for a lot of people.
for those guys.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I will watch again next year.
And I think for the people who had fun with this, I'm sure people didn't care with the draft thing. I think we need to do it for all the majors. It was a lot of fun.
I think we do all the majors, no doubt.
But next, let's not make it random.
Yeah, you got to keep drafting
Yeah, I think we draft, and maybe just 5.
because
I agree.
I know it's really not anybody's fault, but that part of it's complete luck to get some.
No doubt. Yeah. It was. I was lucky that I won the tickets. No,
Go ahead.
there was no skill behind me winning.
Yeah, the only skill should have been. I had the best picks. IMO.
Yeah, so just looking back at the picks, Scoochie had John Rahm, Jordan Spieth, and Tom Kim. John Rahm finishing 5th, Jordan Spieth tied for 4th, and Tom Kim in 16th.
Which gives me a score of
21. So if you take the other top 3, I was the second, I'm pretty sure.
The only other better pick I could have gotten was somebody else who was at 14th, which then I'd be at 19.
You could have taken Gary Woodland. You would have been at 19, so you'd have been in the teens. So shame on you for not picking Gary Woodland.
That's on me.
I would have been in second with, 61? So Scooch took the best 3 picks by a landslide.
By 40 points.
But, yeah, 40 points. 40 points. Dill was right there. He had Jason Day, Patrick Cantley, and Victor Hovland, 4th, 14th, and 39th. So he was right behind us. But what I will say, just moving forward, we need a rule for those who withdraw before the tournament really even starts, because that killed Berger, and that killed.
And that was one of Berger's picks too. Which
Yeah,
just
Berger
sucks.
took Will Zalatoris 2nd overall,
That sucks.
and then Cox had Kevin Na, and
we just got to think of it
and that's why I think we take 5, and then if somebody drops, you just before depending on where they're at in the
I
tournament.
think we draft 6. You pick.
You get an
5,
alternate.
You pick 5 starters.
That's a hell of an idea. Or you draft 6 and you take the score of the top 5.
Okay, I'm fine with either. Or.
Yeah, because you don't know. It could be on day 4, just like Tiger. Could be on day.
Yeah, Cox had 2 guys withdraw.
Oh, brutal.
Sorry.
Could be on day 5 where it's hey, I can't walk him out.
Now, I feel less bad about the Tiger pick because you should have kind of seen that coming a
Yeah,
little
you shouldn't
bit.
have picked him.
Well, and I knew it was going to be rough as soon as they started stopping, starting, and it was raining.
Yeah. He's like a shooter. When he gets hot and he's rolling, he's hot and he's rolling. But
Pop out of his leg or something like that is what I've seen.
I didn't hear anything like
He
that.
couldn't walk. You've seen the videos of him limping super bad. He was.
yeah,
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I saw him limping, but dude could barely bend down and grab a ball out of the hole. So
we'll just touch on this one real quick too. National championship, UConn, just dominant.
I forgot that was a whole week ago.
Just dominant.
Yeah, I don't think it was really ever a game.
San Jose State would come pull close, but I mean UConn's defense. I said San Jose, San Diego. See, I don't even know who lost.
Wow.
You only remember the winners.
I do think the best team won the national championship.
Especially the best
Here-
team in
here's
the
what I'll
month
say.
of March.
Yes, the best team in the month of March. in
It
my
always
opinion.
is.
Yep.
I mean, because you'll have, we talk about, and everybody's us, like Gonzaga. Gonzaga plays 3 big teams early on in the year. They'll win all of them. Then they go to their bad conference, win all those games. And everybody's like, the best team in this tournament is Gonzaga. And then they get there and they lose in the Elite Eight or the Final Four. Or the
Happens
national
every year.
championship.
But I think that's basketball. Basketball is a sport of being able to sustain a level of play throughout a season. And then when you get to March, being able to elevate that play and not drop. And that takes the best team. And UConn was playing really good at the end of the year. They had some injuries earlier in the year. They got those guys back. They get to the tournament, and now all of a sudden they rise. They
still only lost like 6 games this year.
Well, right, and that was without 2 of their better players. And they get to the tournament, and now all of a sudden they play to the level that they should, and they were the best team. Like, I think they could have played anybody in that tournament, and they beat anyone in that tournament by
They didn't win
8 or more points.
Yeah, they didn't win a game by less than 10 points.
No, they dominated.
Yeah, that was a very we're going to look back in about 5 years from now and be like, that was a very dominant run.
That might
Yes.
be the last team I remember that I would sit here and say I might take them over that Baylor team that won the national championship.
Yeah.
Because Baylor beat Gonzaga by 21 in the national
What's
championship.
crazy though is like we all had Gonzaga going or UConn going on quite a ways in our brackets, but nobody picked them.
No.
So it's a true testament to them, obviously.
Yeah, I had them losing in the Final Four.
That's what I had them in the Final Four, losing to Houston.
Yep, that's the exact one.
I think I had them losing to Kansas.
Which even their win over Houston
In the
might have
Elite
been what?
Yeah.
Their win over Houston was probably the most impressive win that they had in the Final Four. Like it was like,
Well, that was Miami. Miami beat Houston. UConn
Oh,
beat
yeah.
Miami in the Final Four.
who did they beat? Yeah, but I still had. You're right. They didn't play, but they would have played.
Right.
Yeah, because they dominated Arkansas by like 23 or 20 or whatever.
Right. And then they played Miami, and it was just
The thing that people overlook, I think, a lot of is the emotional roller coaster of the tournament. I mean, look at Arkansas; they probably got the most athletic team, but like I think they were on too much of a emotional high after they beat Kansas, and then they go on and it's like lay an egg, you know. Mm-hmm. I think it just took too much out of them emotionally.
that's all coaching. And I think that's where
Absolutely.
you get to the point where how he handled the win, against KU. Well, if I'm a player, why would I react any different now?
Right.
He's taking his shirt off.
Exactly.
That's my head coach, and then now we got it like that. Like I agree with Scooch in the fact that was Arkansas's. That's what they wanted to win.
Back on it, it's like
It meant more for them to beat a number 1 seed than it did to win the national title.
after them doing it, and after the way that he reacted was he sent the message. Especially now looking back on it, is like, I don't care what happens in the rest of the tournament. We beat Kansas. We beat a 1.
Yep.
I'm fine with that.
I agree.
And that's not how you're not going to go far in the tournament doing that. Never.
But I agree. I don't think he really expected that. I don't think he really thought that they were. So beating KU was fine with him.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean
What
that caps my week of
Easter
sports.
Sunday? What everybody do?
Went home, spent it with some family.
Nice.
Both families, so my family and Courtney's family.
We'll be in. Dill, what'd you do?
Exact same thing. Just
Go
went
home.
went home to Larned, Kansas.
I was with the old gal pal and her fam, and for every Sunday there's a place in Chase County called Camp Wood, and it's like right in the middle of the heart of the plain, like the
Camp
Flint
Wood.
Hills.
Been there, Elmdale, Kansas.
Awesome, dude. So like on the back, we Sunday service for Easter, and it's right when the sun comes up. And I think the exact time was about start at 6:55. Sun comes up probably about what looks like 8 miles over across the plains. Sun comes up, and at that moment, he is risen. It's gives you chills. It's one of the coolest. It was awesome. I'll go
Nice.
back every year from now on.
Saw your pictures; they were awesome.
It was awesome, and it had just been burnt, so it was kind of like a fog was everywhere, and I was like, this is awesome.
Nice,
So it was good
nice.
for sure.
So, just kind of want to give you guys a heads up for the weeks to come. So obviously, we're football coaches. We work in the junior college football industry. We don't know for the next couple weeks what it's going to look like for us. The off-campus recruiting for four-year schools opens up next week. So depending on our availability, we may not have a show next week, or it may be slipped in midweek. We'll just maybe try and get in where we fit in, kind of thing.
I was just gonna say that.
So
It may be Dylan talking to himself.
maybe Dill talking to himself.
I think we should do an episode where Dylan tries like impersonate you, impersonate me.
No, that'd be
That'd
funny.
be hilarious.
That'd be funny. But be on the lookout because it'll be a little irregular for the next couple weeks. Opens up the 15th and then closes May 15th. So should be fun for us, obviously.
Yep.
Seeing our guys get some good stuff going on recruiting wise, and then as always. You guys got anything else? You good? So, like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and we'll see you next time. We appreciate you joining in as we unloaded the truck. Catch y'all later.
Dear.